Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm here at school today, and this is going to count as your reading lesson for today. Now, this is not just your assignment. As soon as we go through everything in this video, you're going to have an assignment, and I'll go through that at the end of this, kind of tell you what you have to do to be counted present today, okay? So let's get started. So this week we're going to talk about sequencing. Now, sequencing sounds kind of like a hard word, but when we see the word sequencing, all we have to think about is the order in which events take place. So the order that it happens in. You can look for clues when you're reading that would help identify the time order. Some of the most popular words we see, I've kind of listed here. These are listed a lot in our reads that we do in class. You see first, then, after that, finally, or lastly. Those kind of help give clues to when something happened, okay? Those are going to be keywords you look for when you're reading. If you're looking for something in a text and it said after this, then in your mind you should be able to picture that this is the next order of events that took place. And you see it all the time when you're reading, and you probably just haven't thought about it that much, but it's something that good readers look for, and it kind of cues you to look at the order that everything happened in. And sometimes people think, well, it's not really important, because sometimes you read a book and they break the sequence up. They may tell you what happened at the end first. And that can confuse readers sometimes, especially at our age group. We always want to try to tell things in the order they happened. For example, let's look at this picture. I've looked here at a snowman. It says, does it matter what order we build a snowman in? Now, if we look at our snowman, if I bring Lily Grace outside, let's say we have a really big snow day, and I bring Lily Grace outside, and she brings me a carrot and coal. Of course, we're going to use coal for his face and the carrot for his nose. If she brings me that, and I have not even started rolling up my snowman, she's going to be a little confused. Okay, and she's not going to have everything she needs. She needs to get her gloves on. She needs to get her boggin on. Then we need to go outside. We need to start with what? You're going to pack up some snow and roll it up into a ball. And then I'm not done. You can't start decorating it yet. We've got to stack up our snowman before we can start putting his face on. It's the same thing when we read. You've got to have that order of events so that it makes sense. Okay? That's what we're always looking for. We want to make sure, and when you're writing, it's the same thing. Like when we've been working on those paragraphs, you always want to be sure that you are using those key words we talked about. Those can really help your reader, whoever your audience is. It can help them to keep up with what you're picturing in your mind as you write. So, let's read a book together really quick, and then we'll talk about that order of events, okay? Now, this is a book that I like to read with Lily Grace every year, and it's called When Posy Peeked at Christmas. It's by Ann Dixon and Ann Kennedy. It was Christmas in the mouse hole. The sweet aroma of honey and wild ginger drifted out from the kitchen where Mama Mouse was busy baking. Papa Mouse carried in firewood and kissed Mama under the mistletoe. In the sitting room, Grandma and the youngsters were all decorating a handsome pine tree. Getting ready for Christmas. Grandma, what's that? Said Little Forrest. Oh, that's my favorite ornament, said Grandma. She held up a small box that was wrapped with faded paper and ribbon. Why is it your favorite? Asked Holly, the middle mouse. You can't even read what's written on it anymore. What's inside? Asked Malva, the oldest. A smile, like a lovely secret, twitched across Grandma's whiskers. Why, a story, I'd say. A Christmas story. The mice squeaked. Oh, tell us, Grandma, please. If you insist, agreed Grandma. Once there was a young mouse named Posy who absolutely loved Christmas. She loved the music, the decorations, the food, the lights, but most of all, she loved the presents. Each year on Christmas Eve, the family opened their presents from Grandma, Grandpa, and dear Aunt Lily. Posy could hardly wait. She sniffed and shook and squeezed each present over and over again. "Posy, stop that snooping," her mother would say. But Posy would not stop. One year, on the afternoon of Christmas Eve, Mama, Papa, and little sister Tansy went caroling. Posy stayed behind with a cold. The mouse hole was very quiet. Posy looked at all the lovely presents. She began sorting through them, pulling out her own. Soon, she was sniffing, shaking, and squeezing them again. As she poked at one little package, the end of the wrapping paper popped loose. She lifted the flap, but she couldn't see inside. She loosened the other flap. Still, she couldn't see inside. She slid the box out of the paper and opened it. Inside was a party dress in blue and yellow, Posy's favorite colors. The dress was beautiful. Then she loosened the wrapping on her other presents. She found a pair of fuzzy yellow slippers, the next book in the Mousy Girl series, and a set of bright, shiny paint. Posy was thrilled with each gift. When she was done looking, she rewrapped the presents and placed them all back under the tree. When the family came home, Posy grew uneasy. No one knew about the peeking, yet Posy felt as if on her forehead in big red letters were the words, "I peeked." That's her conscience. Still, Posy said nothing. Even when Mama asked, "Has someone rearranged the presents?" Or even when Papa said, "Some of that wrapping paper has come loose." Even when Tansy asked, "Santa Mouse doesn't come if you peek, does he?" Santa Mouse? Oh, how could she have forgotten? Surely now he could not bring her that doll she had wanted. He might not bring her any presents at all. He might leave a lump of grimy coal in her stocking. At Christmas Eve supper, Posy barely touched her cheese pie. She nibbled only on the ears of her gingerbread mouse. "Are you feeling all right?" asked Mama. "I'm just not hungry," said Posy. But Posy wasn't feeling all right. When it came time to light the candles and open the presents, Tansy cheered, Papa joked, and Mama giggled. Posy tried to squeal with delight as she opened her presents, but she could only pretend to share in their fun. For Posy, there were no surprises. Even her new dress no longer looked so beautiful. It was the worst Christmas Eve of Posy's life. It's not fun when you're not surprised. That night, Posy slept fitfully. What if Santa left her an ugly lump of coal? Early Christmas morning, Tansy jumped out of bed. "Hurry up," she squealed. "Let's see what Santa brought us." Tansy raced downstairs. Posy just lagged behind. Make some predictions. We've talked about making predictions. What do you think she's going to find under the tree? A fresh pile of presents waited under the tree. And there was something for Posy from Santa after all. Posy ripped off all the paper. It was the doll that she had wanted, the most beautiful doll in all the world. Tansy checked her stocking. "Look," she cried, "new socks, tail ribbons, comic books, and licorice sticks, my favorite." Posy saw a bulge in her stocking too. Ugh, was it a black, grimy coal? Trembling, Posy peeked inside. "Hooray!" she squeaked. "Santa brought me socks, tail ribbons, comic books, butterscotch sticks, and what's this?" What do you think it is? It was a small box. "Do not open till Christmas," was written on the outside. "Open it," said Tansy. "No," said Posy. "Why not?" asked Tansy. "It's Christmas." "Because some things are just better if you wait," said Posy. And that's just what she did. She saved that red box until next Christmas, and the next Christmas, and the next, year after year. Grandma stopped. She had finished her story. The mice shrieked and wiggled their tails. "You mean she never ever opened it?" said Holly. "What's inside?" demanded Forrest. "But Grandma, your name is Posy," said Malva. A smile like a happy ending spread across Grandma's face. She hung that faded little box up high on the tree. "Merry Christmas, children," she exclaimed. And she gathered them all up in a great big holiday hug. Not a cute story. I love that one. Now, let's look at this sequencing we were talking about. Remember, sequencing is when we're talking about the order of events that something happens in. So let's look at our story a little bit. When Posy peeked at Christmas, we could talk about a lot of things that happened in the story. We could talk about the doll that the little girl wanted. We could talk about that she stays home because she isn't feeling well. The parents go caroling. But that's a little bit of what we call it in our class the fluff. That's the stuff we don't really need. It's just kind of extra stuff you can throw in for padding. We just want, when we're talking about the sequencing, we just have to give that important things that happened in the order they happened in, okay? So when we talk about sequencing, we need to talk about what happened first, what happened in the middle, and then what happened last. So I've kind of broken that up for you a little bit. A grandmother mouse tells the family a story of a little girl who peeks at her Christmas gifts, okay? And that kind of sums up what's going on in the beginning of the story. After she peeks at her presents, she rewraps them so no one will know, but she feels horribly guilty inside. Now, you could add a little detail, like she's felt like "I peeked" was written on her forehead, things like that. But as long as you are talking about how she felt guilty for opening her presents, then you're giving that detail that we really need to see. Then I put after what she has done. Now notice I've used some of those sequencing words, those keywords we look for. I've used after right here, so that's one of those that we can see to help set up the order of events. After what she's done, she's afraid she won't get any presents from Santa. Remember when she came running down the stairs, the little sister comes running down the stairs and she's just kind of slooping down the stairs because she's not excited. She thinks she's going to just have coal in her stocking. Christmas morning, she receives all she could ever want and one tiny box that says "Do not open until Christmas." And that's an important event in the story because this is actually what led the story to be told when grandmother is hanging that ornament on the tree. Then at the end it says she hangs the never opened box on the tree as an ornament to share with the family. Okay, so that kind of sums it up. Now we're going to also be talking about summarizing later in the week. When you set up your sequencing, like if you take notes when you're reading a story, like say you have a big book to read and you don't want to forget some of the key details, if you'll write down those important events in the order they happen, that kind of helps you set up a summary. And I know we've kind of mentioned what summarizing is. We'll talk about that later in the week. But this helps you to understand if you see the sequencing of events, then it will also help you when we're writing a summary, okay? So we'll kind of go over that probably tomorrow a little bit more. Now, it's your turn to practice this skill, okay? So for your assignment for today, this is Monday, December 14th. For today's assignment, you're going to hop on iExcel, and that should be bookmarked on your computer. You're going to hop on iExcel, and this is what it is called. Determine the order of events in informational texts. Now, when you hop on iExcel, make sure at the top right-hand corner it says that you are logged in. It should say welcome, your name. Like it'll say welcome, Brittany Walker. As long as it says that, you're good to go. Now, if it says your name and it has the password lit up and says sign in, you need to click the sign in button, okay? Once you've signed in, at the top right-hand side, you see that big yellow star with our skills that we're working on. This is one of the skills that we've added. I took away all the other skills, so so that it's easy for you to see what to work on today. So the only thing you have to work on is determine the order of events in informational texts. Now, I need you to hop on, and you've got to earn a medal to be counted present today, okay? Shouldn't take you long, maybe 15 or 20 minutes to hop on and practice that skill. You're going to be reading, like it might give you a paragraph, and then you're going to set up the order of events that happened, just like we did. You're going to tell me what happened first, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end, okay? Once you have earned a medal for that one starred skill, your reading assignment is complete, okay? Now that's not your math. You will only have one reading and one math assignment. This is just your reading, okay? So make sure that you get that medal, and you will be finished with your reading for today, okay? If you have any questions, of course, you can just shoot me an email, or on your Google Classroom. Remember how we looked at how to write a comment to the teacher? You can write me there, or you can have your parent write me on Seesaw, either way. I love you guys so much, and I miss you being here, but I'm glad that we can see each other this way. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.